The officer says 3 words. Step out, please. And most drivers comply instantly. Door open, feet on the ground, no questions asked. That reflex is where control of the stop is lost. The moment you touch that pavement, the legal environment shifts. Officers are trained on this. They count on you not knowing it. I've analyzed over 300 recorded encounters, and the pattern is always the same. Drivers hand over their advantage before they even stand up. Here are the 2 questions that change everything. This is tactical education only. For specific legal guidance, consult a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. Counter move. Number 1. Establish your legal status before you move an inch. Here's the officer's move. They walk to your window and say, "Step out for a second," or "I need you outside the vehicle." It sounds routine, polite even. But what they're actually doing is moving you into a different legal environment before you know what kind of encounter you're in. Here's the real situation. Before you exit, you need one critical piece of intelligence. Are you being detained right now, or are you free to leave? That answer determines everything about how you move, what you say, and what the officer can legally do next. Officers are trained to keep that answer vague as long as possible. Why? Because once they commit to detaining you, they must have reasonable suspicion. Once they say you're free to go, you can leave. They want you in the gray zone, compliant, outside the vehicle, talking, before you figure out which situation you're actually in. Body cam footage from documented stops shows this pattern repeatedly. Driver steps out. Stop drags on. Driver had no idea they were free to leave the whole time. Your countermove, delivered calmly before touching the door handle. Officer, before I step out, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Say it clearly. Wait for a direct answer. Officer, before I step out, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Here's why this works. It forces the officer to make a legal commitment on camera. If they say free to go, you don't exit at all. If they say detained, now you know the standard they must meet. Reasonable suspicion documented on camera before you move. That's tactical gold. The wrong move. Officer says step out. Driver opens the door immediately. Officer controls the environment. Your recording angle changes. Your vehicle is open. The entire dynamic shifted in 3 seconds, and you gave it away for free. Officer, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Field rule. Never move your body before you know your legal status. That counter move forces the status reveal before you lose position. But here's what body cam analysis consistently shows happens next. Even after you've established that you're being detained, officers immediately attempt to blur the next critical line. They can detain you. What they cannot automatically do is frisk you, search you, or open your vehicle. Most drivers don't know that distinction exists. They think stepping out means surrendering their body to whatever comes next. It doesn't. And that's exactly what counter move number 2 locks down before you touch the door handle. Miss this question, and you'll hand them access they were never legally entitled to. Counter move number 2. Force the frisk boundary into the open before you exit. Here's the officer's move. After they confirm you're detained and ordered you out, most officers immediately move toward a pat-down the moment you're standing outside the vehicle. It happens fast. They'll say, "I'm just going to make sure you don't have any weapons," or "This is just for my safety." It sounds reasonable, it sounds legal, but there is a hard legal line between being ordered out and being frisked that most drivers don't know exists. Here's the real situation. Under Terry versus Ohio, an officer can only conduct a pat-down if they have reasonable suspicion that you are specifically armed and presently dangerous. An exit order under Pennsylvania versus Mims covers officer safety during the stop. It does not automatically authorize a frisk. 2 completely separate legal standards. Officers know most people don't know this distinction. So when they move toward you with hands extended, most drivers just stand there and let it happen. That's the compliance trap. Body cams document this pattern constantly. Officer orders exit. Driver steps out. Officer says, "Just gonna pat you down real quick." Driver complies. Frisk happens. Evidence found. The driver never knew they had standing to ask one question before it started. Your counter move, stated calmly before you cleared the doorframe. "Officer, do you have specific reason to believe I'm armed and dangerous?" Say it twice. "Officer, do you have specific reason to believe I'm armed and dangerous?" This signals you know the Terry standard. It forces articulation on camera. If they can't state a reason, any frisk that follows gets challenged because you documented the absence of stated basis. The wrong move is silence. Silent compliance looks voluntary on camera. Your recorded question looks strategic. If they state a reason, comply safely. I'm complying. My hands stay visible. If they have no specific reason and frisk you anyway, that footage is exactly what your attorney needs. Tactical field rule. Exit order and frisk authority are two different legal standards, and you're entitled to know which one applies. Physical protocol. The first 60 seconds before you open that door. Before either question, your physical setup matters. Leave your engine running. Most drivers kill it automatically. Don't. You are not legally required to turn it off, and doing so signals you're settling in for a long cooperative stop. A running engine preserves your ability to leave the moment you're told you're free to go. Turning it off looks voluntary on camera and can suggest you consented to an extended encounter. Dome light on if it's dark. Hands at 10 and 2. Lock your doors. Crack your window 2 to 3 inches maximum. Pass documents through that opening. When you're ready to deploy your 2 questions, your phone should be recording and visible. State clearly, for everyone's safety, I'm recording this interaction as well. Your camera plus their body cam is your complete tactical record. When you prepare to exit, announce every movement. I'm unbuckling now. My hands are visible. I am complying. Tactics vary by state. In Illinois and California, officers face stricter standards before conducting roadside frisks. In Texas and Florida, courts give wider deference on exit orders. In Pennsylvania, Commonwealth versus Powell established that ordering compliance without specific justification can itself be challenged. Your 2 questions work in every jurisdiction because they're not refusals. They're documentation. You're not challenging authority. You're creating a time-stamped record of what authority was actually claimed. Here are your 2 counter moves. Lock them in. Number 1, officer, before I step out, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Number 2, officer, do you have specific reason to believe I'm armed and dangerous? The first establishes your legal category. The second protects your person once that category is confirmed. Drill them right now. Say each one out loud 3 times. Slow, calm, deliberate. That's how they become automatic when the lights are flashing and the pressure is real. Then save this video so you can review before your next drive. The 4 core counter moves for every stop. Am I free to leave? I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I want to speak with an attorney. I do not consent to searches. Screenshot those. Keep them accessible. This is tactical education only, not legal advice. Always consult with a qualified attorney in your state for your specific situation. If this gave you tactical intelligence you needed, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Share this with someone who drives. They need it before their next stop. The next tactical training is already on screen right now. Click it before you face another situation we haven't covered. Tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from, and what time is it there? Stay calm, stay tactical, stay in control.